So you've been itching for a new Star Wars game. A Star Wars game that makes you feel immersed, that makes you feel like you truly are part of a universe that you love. Or perhaps you're brand new to Star Wars or haven't yet stepped foot into the expanded universe, and you've come across an interestingly named game called Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. But as you look at it a little bit more, this game is pretty old. Released in 2003, its graphics don't quite live up to today's standards, and perhaps you've watched a few videos of the gameplay and maybe you feel it's a little bit archaic or just not for you. And you know what? You're completely right to have those concerns. They're pretty valid reasons to maybe not dive in. But with that said, despite its age and despite its limitations, KOTOR remains not one of the best Star Wars games of all time, but generally one of the best role-playing games ever made. So it begs the question, doesn't it? Is KOTOR worth playing in 2021? 18 years after its initial release on the PC and Xbox, and my answer is absolutely yes. And if you don't believe me, you should listen to the main man himself.
Take it from me. I'm Darth Revan, the coolest character of all time. I mean, look at my mask. I'm awesome. With that said, you should definitely be playing KOTOR in 2021. It's the best game ever made. Like, comment, subscribe, romance Bastila, and I'll see you later.
Okay, let's run this back a little bit. I thought Revan might be a little bit more useful there. I guess I'll have to do this myself. Now I know I said absolutely yes, and I know that's not much to go on, so let's dive a little further into why I think you should absolutely be playing Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic in 2021. Now, I'm pretty sure that if you've been in the Star Wars community for any period of time, you've probably heard countless times that KOTOR has this absolutely jaw-dropping story that's going to have you gripped from beginning to end, and it's going to change your life. And if you haven't heard that, I'm not sure where you've been living. Regardless, we do have to talk about the story first. Now, it is no surprise why KOTOR is universally lauded for having an absolutely fantastic storyline, and that's because it just does. You will start the game being given the option to create a completely customizable character, whether you want to roleplay for fun or you want to personally inject yourself into the character. This gives you more of a connection to the person that you're playing as, and then in turn it gives you more of a connection to the characters that you come across, the relationships that you have, and the overall events of the story itself become more and more personal to you. And the game doesn't start off slowly, it throws you straight into the deep end. You're attacked by the Sith and you're given the task to save a Jedi and explore a planet that has a numerous amount of multifaceted layers, and just on this planet alone you begin to piece together pieces of a grander puzzle that slowly start to paint a picture of what kind of story this is going to be and what kind of world you're going to be playing in. And the truth is, it never really slows down. The more you play, the more you are sucked into the Star Wars universe, but on a micro level that you just can't really experience anywhere else. Every single place that you go to, you get to meet the smaller people, each with a story to tell, a trouble, a trauma, a celebration, or a success that's further elevated by the overall narrative, the story between the Jedi, the Sith, the Republic, the Empire. And these are just the microfibers that make up the incredibly strong experience that you will have with the story. And while you do have the smaller scale stories with the NPCs and the side quests, you will then move up a level and begin experiencing the stories of the companions that you come across and who join you on your journey. All of them having such intriguing advice that's given to you due to their life's experience and their perspective on the universe. For example, you'll come across the intriguing Jedi Padawan Bastila Shan, an integral character that guides you throughout the game, trying to be the kind of wise Obi-Wan figure at first glance. But as you play, you'll come to realise that maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's a facade that she puts on. She is just a naive young girl trying to find her own place in a galaxy that's tried to find a place for her. And you get to experience that psychological side to a Jedi unravel over time. You'll get to speak with Mandalorians and outcasted warriors like Canderous Ordo, who've used the galaxy as a culture of war and honour. Each one of your companions, every single one individually, provides you with something completely fresh, and you will truly fall in love with them all. There are many RPGs and games with companions, and they just kind of follow you, but these characters in Knights of the Old Republic are integral to the grander plot too, making them so much more connected to you as well as the character you are playing. And not only do they play a role in the overall narrative, many of them have their own backstories and histories to tell, and some of them even have their own personal quests that you can only acquire by developing that relationship with them and learning about them. And these subsidiary branches of storytelling within the game eclipse some of the games even made today in terms of raw connective storytelling. And if you are somebody who absolutely adores lore on a personal level, on a character-driven level, Knights of the Old Republic excels. And this isn't to mention the overall narrative itself. You, the character, will unlock mysteries, not only about the main two antagonists of the game, Darth Malak and Darth Revan, but yourself too. You'll learn more about the ancient civilizations that once controlled the galaxy. You'll be drawn into social conflicts, political conflicts. The story truly does do an incredible job of making this feel like a living, breathing war that's affecting everybody on so many different levels. And another unique part of Knights of the Old Republic that isn't really explored in the wider Star Wars stratosphere is the philosophical side of things. For example, you'll come across a character called Jolee Bindo, who has a completely unique outlook on the Force, on the Jedi, the Sith, and he really makes you question a lot of things. But what Knights of the Old Republic does do is introduce new ideas and provides you with potentially new questions that maybe you didn't ask yourself throughout the movies. And with these new ideas comes something that a lot of people adore, and that's general romance. You get a variety of romance options with the game, and all three of them are naturally driven by the interactions that you have with your companions. Additionally, Knights of the Old Republic, even back in 2003, was one of the most inclusive games that you could get on the market, and even featured the first ever gay Star Wars character, and she's gone on to be beloved by so many people in the fandom who found a lot of comfort and solace within her character. This game gives you tons of options in terms of romance and love, which is an extremely interesting thing in a game about Jedi, right? Loving isn't the Jedi way, especially not romantically, and that's where the interesting questions that I mentioned just beforehand begin slowly starting to unravel as you play. There is a very specific reason why KOTOR is considered one of the greatest RPGs of all time. The sheer depth in every facet of its storytelling, and the relatability to even the smallest of stories being told within what is considered a grand epic tale. But look, I get it. The gameplay can be off-putting. If you've seen the gameplay, you will know that it is turn-based, it is slower than a lot of games today. There is no high-octane action, you won't be smashing your keyboard or your controller like a nutcase trying to pull off that awesome combo. But the game challenges you to go into battle with a plan and to enact that plan to full effect. While the story may be incredible, the gameplay can hold it back. This formula has been improved over the years with things such as Dragon Age Origins and Divinity Original Sin, but it does show its age. But I am going to try and give you a reason why you should perhaps try to give it a go. Many people struggle with crazy levels of combat. I know a lot of people that can't play certain games just because of the amount of buttons they have to remember, the combinations they have to remember, the general concentration it takes to perfect a game's combat systems. But KOTOR is different. It's more psychological. It's a slower game. It's designed to give you the opportunity to slow down and think about how you want to approach certain events and how you want to deal with certain situations. Whether you want to blast your way out, leave traps, play around it stealthily, or just dive in with a lightsaber and go absolutely ham on some Sith ass, the more you play the game, the more these options open up to you. You can always pause in the middle of battle to think about what you're doing wrong, what you need to do better, and implement those in real time in a way that you can't really do in higher octane action games. The game also does give you a lot of difficulty options. If you do struggle with the gameplay and you just want to be able to breeze through it, you can do that and experience the story. And if you do want a challenge, KOTOR also does provide. The sheer depth of potential build paths, team combinations, character customization is staggering. So you do have a variety of ways to potentially play this game, dependent on your personal preferences. And it's because of this you shouldn't allow the initial couple of hours to determine whether or not the game is for you in terms of raw gameplay. Because as I said, the breadth of the game doesn't just relate to the story, but also the gameplay in itself. And as you settle into the gameplay, it will begin to introduce new things that may be more up your street. So if you're looking at the gameplay and saying, I don't know, trust me, just give it a chance. You know those new pair of awesome shoes you got and you started wearing them, and for the first few weeks they just didn't feel right. But the more you settled into them, the more your feet became accustomed to them, and then a little later down the line, they're literally your favourite things in the whole wide world, and you wear them all of the time. Yeah, that's the best analogy I could come up with, but you know what I'm trying to say. And the same goes for the visual fidelity of the game. Look, it's 18 years old, and yes, the game hasn't aged incredibly, but name me a game from 2003 on the scale of Knights of the Old Republic that looks better than Knights of the Old Republic. If you are somebody that plays a game solely for the sake of graphics, then okay, I get it, you probably won't enjoy this. But with a game like KOTOR, the graphics are unimportant, and even saying that, everything still looks pretty good. The environments are good, the character models are still pretty awesome, the general colour palette and variety is still at a higher standard. Is it Jedi Fallen Order or Battlefront? Of course not, but for an 18-year-old game it's not bad, and I think you do need to place that into your perspective. If you are somebody who's into music, especially Star Wars music, and you love themes that John Williams provided, or perhaps the TV shows, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic features one of the greatest Star Wars soundtracks of all time. From the main theme to individual character themes and planet themes, trust me when I say this, but just experiencing the original soundtrack contextually with where it's supposed to be in the game for the first time is one reason alone to play this game through to the end. The music is absolutely phenomenal. Knights of the Old Republic in itself was one of the cornerstones of modern gaming. KOTOR fundamentally changed the way we play role-playing games, much like Morrowind did and Oblivion did. And I mean, we're here because we love Star Wars, right? Or maybe you just want a new role-playing game. Knights of the Old Republic fits the bill for both of those reasons. Not only is it one of the greatest Star Wars stories ever told, it's one of the best games ever made, and it's vital to the history of gaming itself. And it's something I personally believe should be experienced by everybody at least once. Which is why I say to you, absolutely yes, you should play Knights of the Old Republic in 2021. And if you do love KOTOR 1, there is also so much more to dive into. You can move on to the sequel, which in my personal opinion is even better. You then have the option to move on to the Old Republic, the MMO. You can move into the novels and the comic books. The game is a fundamental starting point for any fan of Star Wars wanting something just a little bit different, but something that is without a doubt the Star Wars that they love. Now, some of you may be waiting for the remake, which is totally fine. However, I would advise playing the original first. That way you will get a first-hand appreciation for how good or bad the remake may be compared to what came before. Now the question is, where can you play Knights of the Old Republic? And the truth is, nowadays you can get it from pretty much everywhere. It is always on sale on Steam, and that isn't even an exaggeration. I swear to God it's on sale every other weekend for like $3. And honestly, playing it on PC is the best thing to do. Even if your system is pretty weak or your laptop is cheap, it can probably play this game, and it's the best way to play it. But you can also get it on your mobile devices such as iPhone and Android, and they're at a pretty respectable price, and they were ported to those devices by the very company that are making the remake, Aspyr, and they play relatively well. They translate to mobile devices pretty good. They don't lose much of the charm, but it might be a little bit more difficult to play with a limited control scheme that the mobile does provide. And then of course, if you want to go really retro, you can find it on the original Xbox somewhere, and you can also play it in HD on backwards compatibility on the Xbox One. Now in today's question of the day, I want you to comment down below, what is your most beloved memory of Knights of the Old Republic? What makes this game special to you? And if you haven't played the game yet, let me know if you're going to play the original first, or if you prefer to wait for the remake. There truly is no better time to be a Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic fan, and with that there is no better time to be a part of my community. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and join the community, because I have so many videos on Knights of the Old Republic, such as this one, which is just 10 minutes of random facts and trivia about the game, that I think you'll find very interesting, and there is much more coming. Also, while you're here, don't forget to come and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and join the Discord server, because I would love to have you there. And if you want to support the channel a little bit further, perhaps consider taking a look at Patreon. All links are in the description below. I'll see you guys in the next video. But until then, may the Force be with you. Always.